Belinda Doveston and welcome to the I Ching Cafe and our weekly overview for the week commencing the 21st of November 2022. Well, as we get stuck into what the I Ching is asking us to pay attention to this week, don't forget that you've not yet done so. Go and have a look at the November overview to connect with where are you traveling into new adventures, in new directions, and some advice on how to navigate wisely through the new journeys we are embarking upon and the family energy we're being asked to connect to. Right, so last week we had this interesting energy of the recurrence of fellowship, hexagram 13. We had this beautiful hexagram of hexagram 49, revolution, bringing this snake energy, this transformation energy into our lives, getting rid of the old, getting ready for the new. And so what happened for you last week? What was the conclusion, the victory of the fellowship of you gathering with others in the field, about to embark and push together as a collective group? What was the collective power that perhaps you were able to tap into in your communities, business, in your teams, and through your social networks? Okay, so do share a comment if something evidential came up for you during last week. So this week, well, what can I say? This theme of interconnected patterns just keeps on coming. I just think this is amazing. Last month, we had Youthful Folly, then we had a follow-on on Youthful Folly. Then we had Hexagram 13 Fellowship, and then last week we had Fellowship leading to 49 Revolution. So, what do you think is this week's hexagram? Drum roll. I'm hearing a drum roll, yes? Hexagram 49 Revolution. Okay. I mean, the odds of getting this interconnected flow of hexagrams going in these patterns is just astounding. I hope there's maybe a maths guru out there that could work it out for us. What are the chances this is happening? So our first hexagram is hexagram 49 Revolution. But wait, there's more. We also have 5 changing lines. I think this is the third time it's ever happened on the channel. We've never had 6 lines all changing. That would be like, can you imagine for a weekly what that would feel like? Whoa! 5 changing lines. Okay, so the week's only 7 days long. And with 5 changing lines, we have 6 increments of change. So pretty much every day, ka-chung, 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 the energy is shifting throughout the week. I would say this is an energy of epicness, okay? And depending on what you're working with and the way that you approach your life and what you are needing right now, this could be massive intensity of change, or this could be, quite challenging. This could be a fun ride on a surfboard, or this could be, like clinging onto the surfboard for dear life, hoping not to drown. Let's hope you're riding the wave and you're going, woohoo, revolution is back. Okay, so our chance to continue the theme from last week of stripping away the old skin, of stepping into our new, overthrowing the old in ourselves. What a wonderful energy. Now, revolution can also be a very challenging energy if it's not managed well. I spoke last week about, revolutions must be done in the right way, at the right time, with the right goal, okay, with the right leaders. And so I hope and I affirm that what we don't see in this energy of revolution 2 weeks in a row is massive violent issues, okay? Protests are important. They're part of transforming our society, but they can become violent and they can trigger other issues. So let's just hold in the best possible light that the right change happens this week, okay? We're going through this process, but let's just put our energy, send our energy out into the world that change comes, but without the drama, okay? We want surfboard change. We don't want, I'm drowning. Okay, so work with that if you would like to. So the thing about the 5 changing lines is there's kind of no point in me going through a line-by-line breakdown because there's so much change. We are literally out through the gate on Monday and we're already into something else entirely. So some of the resources I've come across talk about this idea of What happens if you have more than one changing line? I know it's a question that's come up before, and there are lots of resources and lots of techniques of if it's one, if it's two, if it's three, if it's four, like how to work with reading changing lines when sometimes they can be really contradictory. So the one resource I came across says that if you've got 4 or more changing lines, and we've got 5, we don't bother with the changing lines. It's just the change is happening so rapidly and the energy is moving so fast that by the time you've thought about revolution, we're somewhere else. Okay. So what we do instead is we read the lines in the second hexagram that don't change. Okay. So we have for this week, we have changing lines in the first, second, third, fourth, and sixth positions. The fifth position is the only one that doesn't have a changing line. So what I'm going to do is for this week, I'm not going to unpack every single changing line because by the time we've spent time trying to work out what the changing lines mean, the changing line is gone. Okay. So let's zoom in to this particular changing line. And before I do that, I obviously have to tell you what the outcome hexagram is. So what we'll do, I'll tell you what the outcome is. We'll go through the changing line, and then I'll go and unpack the outcome hexagram, the second relating flow a little bit more. Okay, so our second flow is hexagram 59, dispersing, which you've also had quite a lot. And that is the hexagram of the soft, gentle thaw, things dispersing and dissolving and unraveling, okay, things that are stuck and locked. Okay, so with reading the line in the fifth position for 59, dispersing, that characterizes the push to achieve something, to overcome difficulties, and then that transition point when things click over, okay, where they just tip over the edge of difficulty and into the area of we've achieved something. And the way to imagine this is what happens when we have a fever. Okay, we have all had a fever, and it's one of the body's beautiful ways of trying to keep us healthy. So here comes an invading virus, bacteria, whatever it is, and the body starts heating up, okay, because now it wants to cook out this pathogen, right? So it gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, and you feel prickly and you feel terrible and you feel hot and you feel all kinds of terrible things with this fever, and your fever is hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. And if you are willing to leave it a bit without jumping into the medicine safely, it gets to a point where you feel like a sizzling sausage, right? And then what happens? We break out into a sweat. And all that pressure that's been building up, all that strain, as the body's been getting hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter, suddenly the break comes. And that sweat. And you just know, I got through it. Okay, I got through it. The sweat has come. Okay, so this changing line of dispersing. Okay, what this means is dispersing the obstacles, but working with others and putting in the work and focusing everything on pushing through the obstacle. You are like the body going with this temperature. Boom, 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 boom. And then you reach a critical point, a tipping point where, okay, the sweat comes, right? And we are liberated. So we are dispersing obstacles in our life, and we're dispersing them in a very particular area. This changing line really calls us to put everything behind it, put our heart and our soul, and it's almost like forget everything else, right? Just throw everything into this process, pushing it forward. And that's what we need to pay attention to. So in a way, that's the nutshell of this whole week. Revolution is driving change with these 5 changing lines. But this little thing, this dispersing the obstacles, we need to work. We need to throw our weight behind a single focused idea. Not, okay, all over, not spray and pray. Focus on a particular thing that we are trying to overcome and work, work, work. Be that fever that builds up, builds up, builds up, and then cracks through the obstacle because of that accumulated energy. Can you do that? I know you can. So dispersing is our second hexagram. It's a key energy that's sitting with us this week, as there's something of the past, something that's old, something that's locked up that needs to be rallied forward and pushed out of our lives, and we need to work. So what is the I Ching asking us to pay attention to? Focus on putting all your energy behind solving a big thing that you need to conquer, because you can conquer it, and the energy is with you this week to do that. Isn't that wonderful? So let's see what happens with Revolution 5 changing lines. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. And so enjoy the ride. Get on your surfboard. Be willing to strip away the old, throw out the old, do it in the right way at the right time, without violence, okay? Without sanctimonious waving and shouting. Just go for it. All right. Just be present with the change and the dispersing of obstacles that is with us right now. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. It'd be great to have you rejoin us if you are not yet a subscriber. And thank you to podcast listeners. You guys are awesome. And of course, see you on the socials if you're into that as well. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.